See, what they don't know is they're tuning in to DBYT Podcast. My name is Taisha Hines, and this is my show where I'll explore the ins and outs of the world around me. You can tune in every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Hey everybody, you're tuning in to DBYT Podcast, and I'm your host Taisha. Tonight, our guest is Ryan Bryant of Bright Productions. We will be discussing the challenges that a developing director faces, as well as the moments that make all the hard work worth it. I want to thank those who come back weekly and those who are new to my podcast. With that being said, let's get into it. So tell me about yourself, Ryan.
I'm from Hartville, Georgia. It's in Northeast Georgia. I graduated in 2017 from Hart County High School, and I started going to Valdosta State University in August 2017. And I am working towards my Bachelor in Fine Arts in Mass Media this May, hopefully.
Okay, so what influenced you to come to Valdosta State?
It was affordable, and plus I heard from many sources that it had a very good mass media program, and I was like, interesting. Okay, so good program, cheap and affordable. Okay, this might work for me.
You know, that sounds almost similar to me. Mine was the fact that it was cheap and it had an accredited computer science program, and the fact that it had mass media, because I kind of wanted to double major, but then somebody was like, don't do that, that's a waste of time. And I was like, but I ended up coming to mass media anyway.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was going to double major in communications, mass media and communications, and minor in theater. And then same thing. It's like, oh no, don't do that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to minor in theater. And then my credit hours was starting to fall behind. It was like, oh, well, if you want to graduate in May, you're going to have to drop the minor. And I was like, gladly.
No, because I feel that they said that you can get a accreditation and be just as good. Because at the end of the day, it's all paper, guys.
Yeah.
So what has your college experience been so far?
I have very much enjoyed it for the most part. There are a few things that, like, just in general, some things just kind of like, oh, well, this could be a little better. Like general complaints, kind of like, not complaints really, but kind of just like, oh, well, you know, the food could be a little bit better. Some professors a little this, a little bit of that. But for the most part, I've rather enjoyed my college experience. I've learned many things that I don't think I would have learned on my own. I've met a bunch of great friends, a good group since freshman year that have really stuck by me and helped me out when I needed them, and I really appreciate them for that. I don't regret it. The people that I have met here, we're from different areas. I'm 5 hours away from here, and they're from Columbus, Atlanta, Los Angeles, just spaced out. We're spaced out people, so I wouldn't have met them under any other circumstances.
That's true. I came down here with a couple of my friends, so I had a slightly different approach to college than you did. From freshman year to now, what do you think has changed?
I don't know. I feel like I've gained more social skills. I would say that. Yeah, I've become more sociable. Elementary through high school, you could probably ask anybody that I graduated or went to school with. I wasn't really the most sociable person. I'm still not now, but I feel like I've grown somewhat in a way. The people that I stay in contact with, I've been very sociable with. They'd be surprised that you heard otherwise, actually.
Which class or which professor has taught you the most valuable information?
I would have to say Professor Walker I've had. I feel like he has taught me the most, and say he's my favorite professor because of just his teaching style. He has a certain way that he goes about it at first, but then he's also willing to adapt to your learning style. He's very hard. I've heard that from a lot of people. It's like, oh, like the way he teaches is very hard. They don't like the way because it's very tough grading. I understand the viewpoint, but I also see why he does that, because he's not just going to give you the grade that you want. He's going to give you the grade that's going to benefit you later on. And I've appreciated that over the past few years that I've had him.
I met him last semester. I guess for the people who don't know, I also go to Valdosta State with Ryan. So yeah, me and Dr. Walker, I wanted to work with him again for this semester. So that's why I'm currently in sports workshop. For a good bit of it, a lot of the students are like, oh, he's hard, he's this, he's that. But it's like, you also have to realize the type of people who are saying it. Just to keep it a buck, I mean, a lot of people in our major are kind of lazy, and they kind of want things to be given to them in a way. Like, they don't care about their craft as much, in my opinion. You know, like, everybody wants to get their degree, but they don't want to really work for it or learn. They just kind of want to take the class and keep it moving.
And I also feel like it has to do with the fact that the things that he's teaching are not in their field. And I get that, because there's a lot of classes that we unnecessarily have to take in order to get our degree. Like, everybody has to do it. So it's like, okay, I understand the complaints. I've complained myself. It's just, okay, well, let's just kind of get through it. Just get it done. And you complain along the way. It's like, oh, video workshop, this is what I want to do. I want to be a radio personality or something. Like, I want to do this. And it's like, yeah, the rest of everybody else in this class probably wants to do something else too, but we're forced to take this class. So
I will say that's true. And when it comes to taking unnecessary courses, I would more so lean towards the core classes, like things that we've taken in high school. I don't feel it's necessary for us to like re-up on that. My favorite class so far, I would say, is sociology, because it was just like, it was eye-opening. I loved it. It was great.
No, I enjoyed also like my psychology class. That was a class I really enjoyed having. But this class is like, right now, a hazardous environment. I'm a mass media major. Why am I learning about this?
Do you want me to answer that?
It's an interesting topic to talk about. Yeah, the earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, and etc. This very interesting topic, but why do I need it for my major? But okay.
Oh, let me dive into that real quick. So one, I think it gives people perspective, because as a filmmaker, like, yeah, we need to know about film, but we also need to know things about the world and how it works to make our film better. We want to make it realistic. We want to incorporate accurate information into what we're doing. So I think taking extra classes like science classes and things of that nature, I think that's where that comes from. Because like, we don't take a lot of math classes, and compared to computer science majors, they take in more math courses so they can have a better foundation for their major. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see that. Okay.
Yeah, that's been under the belt for a while.
All right.
When did you discover your love for film?
I've always been a fan of it. I knew I wanted to do something in writing. I knew I wanted to do that. I didn't really know what outlet to go about it. I was just jumped around first, like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna be a novelist. So then I altered, and I was like, okay, I'll be a comic book artist. And because I like to draw at the time, I like to draw and I like to sketch. I don't feel like I really know anybody that's going to be able to help me out with that. I feel like I have to wait too long to be able to play that out. So I was like, okay, well, how about graphic novelist or something like that? I was into the same thing of comic book. You got to really know the person to really draw out what you are envisioning with your words. And I was like, okay, well, so I was kind of a little stuck place at that point. And then when we were signing up for classes, one of my friends was like, hey, I'm taking audio, video, technology, film classes. Like, you should sign up with me. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, I went over to the table, looked at it, and he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to be making videos, stuff like that and stuff. We're going to be editing and stuff. And I was like, okay, interesting. And the funny thing was, like, I signed up for the class and I got chosen, but he put that like at the bottom of his list saying, oh, yeah, I want this class, this class, this class. And then if none of that works out, then this class. So he ended up getting taken to band, and I ended up getting the class, and I didn't even get it with him. And I was like, wow, all right, cool. And I very much enjoyed it, yeah. Making short films, videos. We did broadcasts for the football teams and the baseball teams and soccer and etc. And just, I really enjoy the field. I think this is where it's at. This is what I want to do.
I still have hard times figuring out what I actually want to do. I'm not married to the idea of having one thing. I have never been that way, but I've always had interest in computers and cameras for a long time, since I was a little girl. So it was like, I kept toggling back. But when I got to middle school, for some reason, I wanted to be an orthodontist and a police officer. I quickly changed my mind. Because I'm not with the shooting and the saving people's lives. That's not me. I got to high school and it was more like, oh, maybe I can go into like business classes, like get certified in Microsoft and whatnot. Because, been doing it our whole lives. So it's like, how hard could it be? I know we talked a little bit about the mass media program a little earlier, but is there anything else you could add to it? What would you say about the mass media program for like students who may be considering coming to Valdosta State?
I'll say, first of all, there's room for improvement. I kind of went in, was like, oh, I was expecting this. And there's still some work to be done. So you kind of have to be patient with the program, I feel like. If you're worried about having a specific area, like you just know you want to kind of be in that field, I wouldn't really worry too much about that, because like just the process of like the classes and like what classes you take will, I feel, for most people, give them a better idea of what they want to go into. Because I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do, but I've had friends that came in, they say, bro, I just like media, I just like making stuff, but I really don't know what I want to do. And then like they start taking announcing classes, they started taking screenwriting classes, and then one of my friends was like, you know what, I feel like broadcasting is where I want to be at, because he just enjoyed the announcing class, he enjoyed being in the studio, being in front of the camera and stuff like that. His personality just came through the screen. He's like, I feel like this is what I want to do. So he's really settled into that. But it's not as like specific, I feel like, as a bunch of other majors where you're like, oh yeah, you have to know specifically, oh yeah, I'm in this, but you have to know where you want to go, or else your classes kind of seem unnecessary kind of in a way. But yeah, it's very broad, and it gives you room for kind of growth and finding your direction.
Has there been anything in the program that you like missed and didn't get to do, or like do you regret not doing something? Like, for me, for example, I just started going to the film festivals like last year before COVID. And I was like, I actually enjoyed this. Like you heard about it throughout college or whatever, but it's like, dang, I wish I would have did this more or joined a film festival, at least for me. But do you have anything like that for you?
No, regarding the film festivals, I was pretty much going about freshman year, because it was just like, again, just my interest. I was like, I just want to see what other people make, kind of just seeing where other people's minds were at, and then just possibly getting ideas for anything that I want to do, or seeing something as, oh, I want to try that, like a certain camera style or way of filming that somebody did something. The 48-hour film festival that I really enjoyed, that we were doing until COVID, I really enjoyed that, where you got your prompt on Friday and you created a story. I really enjoyed that. It's like, I think Mayhem, I really was just like, because again, it was just still like earlier on is like my growth in being more sociable. I'm usually used to being to myself. So like events like the Mayhem Music Festival, I didn't really go to that really. I'd like be passing it, like coming and going from work or classes or whatever, but I didn't really go to Mayhem until I think it was like sophomore year, I think. I didn't go to Mayhem until sophomore year, and I really enjoyed it. And then I was just like, then COVID, and I was like, dang, I should have really been part of this. I was like, I've been like missing out. That was one example I can think of out of a couple.
Mayhem is actually fun. Yeah. I love the turkey legs, the fried Oreos, and everything else that come along with it. I guess in that regard, we were like flip-flopped. It was like I was going to more events or like trying to join like clubs and things. I was into like more ASL and everything like that. But I didn't have no time to commit. But I noticed that you had tattoos.
Okay, yeah.
What does 2911 mean to you?
Yeah, I have a collarbone tattoo, this Jeremiah 29 and 2911, and it's one of my favorites. It's just kind of gives you like, oh, okay, well, times get hard, like especially in college. I've realized, at least for myself, that you're like, okay, well, I'm doing this. I felt so confident about it at first. Now it's gotten to a point where I'm kind of struggling in this, and I'm not really sure if this is meant for me, if this is what I should be doing. It's like, not in regards to like my field, like mass media, but just like with classes, just the difficulty level and certain things I struggled with. And I was like, is college really for me? Is this really what I need to be doing? But it's just a quote I've really gone back to. It's like, oh yeah, I have plans for you, like to prosper you and to give you a future and to not bring harm to you. And I was like, oh, it's something I really go back to very often. Now it's tatted on me. So I literally look in the mirror and I see it, and I'm just like, okay, like this is tough right now, but let's try to do the best we can. Let's try to get through it, because there's a bigger plan.
Yeah, I noticed that. I have my own 2911s in Proverbs, and it's basically, it's basically saying that a fool tells everything. And I'm the type of person, I mostly like to keep my business to myself. And I just felt like it was a reflection of me. What would you say is your favorite movie?
to my friend group, I'm like the movie person. It's like, oh yeah, bro, this weekend I'm watching a movie. Which movie should I watch? You got any suggestions or something like that? But if I had to have any at the top, it would be Training Day with Denzel Washington and The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. It's Those are two of my favorites. I actually have a Heath Ledger poster on my wall here in my room because it's one of my favorite performances. Both of them, Denzel and Heath Ledger, are two of my favorite performances on screen. I wouldn't say they're the best movies because people get that confused. They're not the best movies ever made, but they're just my favorites, just as far as the storytelling, the performances, and the direction and the acting behind them.
Usually I would say Mean Girls just because I can watch it over and over, or Parent Trap. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I just love Lindsay Lohan. So that's crazy. I never thought about her like that, but now I think I have a soft spot in my heart for her. In movies, what's the most important thing?
Every part's important, obviously, but I don't know, because personally, for me, it's attention to detail. Like all that incorporated, just like direction, writing and stuff like that, camera angles, just attention to detail. There's a show that's on Netflix right now that I really enjoy. It's called Haunting of Hill House, and the attention to detail in that show is very just particular. I've gone back and I've watched the actors on YouTube watch it. I've watched it myself a couple of times. I've watched it with friends that I've shared it with. And just going back and watching it over, there's certain things that you kind of just see that you missed the first time around. And plus, I'm a finicky type of person. I'm a particular type of person. So if possible, I like to try to be as particular as I can in a production.
I'm a person for continuity. Like if I see something in one shot and it's supposed to be in the next, don't make that mistake. I heard you say something about the YouTube reactors, and I also have been on your YouTube channel. Do you enjoy doing that for like fun, or do you just like to inform people?
I like to give my opinion to a point. Just certain things, just like revolving media, like those started off, I was just bored. I saw the people doing it. I was like, let me just try them out, something like that.
If you weren't into films like you are now, what do you think you would be driving towards?
I would say, because my mom, she initially was like, oh, you should be a doctor or something like that. You should be a lawyer, because I talk a lot. And there'd be times where I would get into trouble and I would try to negotiate my way out of it. But if I was like, oh, if it was just some minimal stuff like that, and she'd be like, oh, you should have done this. I'm like, well, what about this? I mean, well, I was doing this and I was a little bit busy. So there's a reason for that. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I would just try to negotiate my way out of it. It was something I considered.
In what areas do you feel you need the most improvement?
Editing is at the top. I would say editing, because I wouldn't say basic, but I'm a simple editor. I don't really dive too much into, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and do this.
Have you recently been trying to improve on that skill, or is like, I don't really want to go into editing, but have you been trying to improve in that area? I
have been trying. It's definitely an option just based on the field and where it's at now in like LA, Atlanta, and stuff like that. There's always job openings.
So can you tell me about the first film that you ever created?
My first film was in audio video 2 class. So I think in high school, the poster's back here on the wall. We was working on a project in class. I can't remember if it was a group project or individual project, but my film teacher at the time, Coach Gaines, pulled me and another student aside, and he knows that of our mutual interest in film. I was saying that, hey, there's a film festival coming up, the Milledgeville Film Festival. So I started reworking the script, and I chose my people for it to help me out in it. And I was like, okay, so yeah, this is what the story is about, how we're going to film it, this is the way it's going to be filmed, and this is how long it has to be. And he's like, okay. Primarily for the length of the production, they really didn't know what I was talking about. They understood the story, but they were very kind of questioning, like, what? Because there'd be certain things I would say. There's one shot in the film where there's two of me sitting on the couch, and then we cut to a side angle of it, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to have having it just in front of you is like, that's too easy, so I'm gonna put it to the side so it can be like, oh, okay, that's something different I haven't seen before. And people were standing around my computer area, and it was like, Ryan, how'd you do that? There's 2 of you. And I was just like, it wasn't really that hard, man. I can really show you. It's not really that hard. I mean, nowadays in college, you're just like, oh, okay, I know how you did that. But in high school, I guess they hadn't seen that before, and they were just like, what? That's crazy. So we were sitting there, we were watching it, and they took a little while. They were just kind of going over, I guess, their decisions. And then they came onto the stage and they was like, okay, we're going to be giving out the awards. And they like, yeah, for best editing, so and so, for best visual effects, so and so, for best sound editing, so and so. And we're just sitting like, well, this is cool. I was like, this glad to be down here. And then it got to best directing, and they said, oh, for best directing, Shut In for Hart County. And we was like looking at me like, no, go there and get it. And I was like, my God. I was just like, what? We actually won something? I was like, none of us were expecting to win anything. We're just like, yeah, short film, see some people see it and stuff. That'll be fun. Because I had some little doubts kind of in the class if this is really what I wanted to do. And that moment kind of really solidified. I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do, because having created something and being acknowledged for it and awarded for it, pretty much, to just be like, oh, we recognize the time put into this and the direction behind this and stuff. And they want to like just single you out and be like, congratulations. So I was like, thank you so much. But yeah, it was just it felt really good at that time, just being seen and be like, yeah, you did this and you did good at it. Good job.
Obviously, you work with a lot of people throughout the years. So as a director, what have you learned from these experiences from working with all these different types of people?
Everybody's different. You can't really be like, oh yeah, well, like you did this with so-and-so a certain way. You try to apply it to somebody else. It's not always going to work, because everybody's different. And like with actors, it's like, you be like, oh yeah, certain actors can touch on certain emotions differently, or they can take instruction in a different way than somebody else can. So it's just, so you just kind of have to be able to kind of adapt to different people. You have to be better to like kind of instruct. So it's like, okay, so this is what we're doing. This is how it's laying out. And then from here, we're going to take it into editing, and this is how it's going to come out here. So this is why we're doing this, so that way in editing is going to look like this. And it's just like, yeah, okay. So it's something I've tried to work on. Also be just patience. Yeah, because I don't tend to be a very patient person, but on the film set, I really have to be.
So how do you deal with criticism?
I'm very open to criticism. It actually depends on criticism. Because constructive criticism, I'm very open to that. It's like, oh yeah. Just like if somebody sees something, it's like, okay, you know that, like you see that shot? The shot's a little shaky or something like that. Well, did you mean it for it to be shaky? No, I did not. And it's like, okay, well, what did you film with? Oh, we filmed with on a tripod or something like that. It's like, okay, well, I would say that if the camera is still, then don't touch the camera. Hit record and then just let the camera sit there. Because if your hands are on the camera, then your hands just generally shake, so you're going to shake the camera. It's like, okay, noted. Then there's sometimes where somebody will think it's criticism and they're just saying what they would prefer. I've had that experience many times.
I've been trying so hard my entire life. It's just always been a hard thing, because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people are just trying to attack me, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get the idea of maybe they're just trying to help. It's going to take some more years probably, because sometimes I'm stubborn or sometimes stuck in my ways when it comes to certain subjects or topics or whatever. But I definitely try to be like, I try to be open. But sometimes people just be coming for your neck, and I just be like, nah, no, absolutely not. Like, people don't know a director's purpose, like their initial purpose. So it's like, it's good that you can stick to what you want your outcome to be. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Do you think it's harder to start a project or to keep a project going?
They both kind of have their pros and cons. It's like for starting up a project, you're like, okay, depending on how big the project is, you kind of have to get funding. You have to get talent. You have to get kind of locations settled up and everything. So it's kind of hard to get the ball rolling in that sense. But then also once production starts, you be trying to work with people's schedules, and you're like, okay, yeah, like for this time, when are you free? And it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to be free for these few days, and those few days are when you need them. And you're like, okay, like what time this day? If you're not free, like what specific time? They're like, oh yeah, from here to here. And you're like, okay, well, okay, cool. If in that case, can you film after that? And they're like, I really was just going to kind of rest. And they're like, you just have to kind of be resilient in it and be determined to get your vision through.
Okay. Last question that I have is, what advice would you have for someone trying to become a director?
You just have to be patient with it, because there are certain people that see you have your vision, and then other people have their vision, and their vision may be similar, but it also might be completely different from yours, and you have to kind of be able to take that and try to come to a compromise. You don't want to completely shut them off completely, because from then on you'll kind of get that word about you. It's like, oh yeah, they're very kind of stuck in their way. They're very stuck in the way. They don't really take credit. They don't listen. Also, along with criticism, I guess they don't take criticism. They don't take people trying to help them out. So it's like, if they are doing something, that's the only way that they want it done. So no, I would say, be patient with the people you're working with. Be patient with the process. We can still do what we need to do, then I'm okay with it. Just as easily as you came onto it, you can leave, and then somebody can take your place, because
everybody is definitely replaceable.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Some people have that way about them. They're like, oh man, I'm on the project, something like that, so I feel like y'all should work around me. And I'm like, but who brought you onto this project?
Or just the simple fact that somebody could maybe have more talent and more free time than you. So let's just think about that.
That has definitely happened. It's like, oh, well, I want to help you with this, or something like that. He came to me and it's like, oh, I want to help you with this. I want to be in this. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, can you come to audition at this time? Yeah, sure. Well, the auditions are going on. He's like, okay, bro. Well, I'm down the street in my class. Can you come pick me up? No. It's like, bro, I'm just down the street. I understand that, but I'm here at the auditions. Anybody could come any minute, and while I'm picking you up, I could miss out on somebody. And he's like, okay, well, bro, that's just a long way for me to walk. My phone's about to die, and I might get lost. It's straight direction. You literally walk down the street, and you'll see the sign in the yard. Bro, you know what? I already got back on the bus, bro. I'm just heading back to my room. All right, cool. Well, thank you for your time.
Right.
Didn't need him anyway. The next person in the room the next person that came in was the person we casted for that part.
I feel that.
Stuff happens like that.
It does. And I mean, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So we have reached the end. Do you want to say any last words, or have any social media that you would want to shout out or, promote?
Oh yeah, sure. I would appreciate if people went and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ryan Austin Bryant, Bry Productions. I don't really post as much as I would like to, because I'm still working on getting my own personal equipment. That's a work in progress still. But whenever I can, work stuff, class projects, this capstone short film that I'm definitely working on, that's definitely going to be on there. And any other projects upcoming, those go onto my channel. And then also following me on my personal Instagram, Ryan Austin Bryant, and then my business Instagram, Bry Productions, would also be appreciated. Just trying to grind out here, so the support is very much needed and appreciated. Just people seeing that, okay, I'm working hard, and people acknowledging that I'm working hard and wanting me to keep going and to get better.
Okay.
Thanks in advance.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. That was Ryan. I'm Taisha, and we're out. All right, everybody, that's all we have for DBYT today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at either _Sanah, that's SENIH, or at DBYT Productions for more podcasting content. Thanks to everybody who continues to support my vision in every way, by whether it's a repost or just being on my show. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments, suggestions, topics, or questions, feel free to hit me up on social media, or if you have my personal contact, don't be shy. Tune in next week where we'll be introducing a new artist in the industry. And that's all I have for you guys this week. I'm Taisha, and I promise I won't bite my tongue.